Right now, what do you think of the position of the bushes right now?
Your bush is very nice.
I can.
No, I got it. I moved them a little bit, but I moved them a tad bit too far. I want to move just.
You should tell him to not touch this shit in the
That's
studio.
right.
Like, dude, that's all it takes.
Hey.
All it takes is you just tell him, like, hey, stop touching our shit.
Stop touching it, bro. What do you? That's how he calls me out. He says, "What do you think about the position of the?"
A little passive aggressive there. No,
You might want to look at that.
no. But we are good to go. Whenever you guys are ready, I can intro you guys in.
Yeah. Give me a second.
No, just fine. Take your time.
I have an overwhelming thought process of the Saturday Night Live skits of Sweaty Balls and Dusty Muffin. Sweaty Balls. Your balls are so good.
Sweaty.
Ooh, I love them when they're coated.
Love the way they feel in my mouth.
That was a little far. That was a little.
What? You started it.
Oh man, there's some shit going on in back there.
I wish we had a camera on you right now. You look insanely frustrated.
He does. All I see is his left
Got
hand.
it. There we go. There we go. There's the timer. Okay. Yeah, we're ready. Put my drink down. Hello, Jim.
Good morning.
How is your radio voice doing today?
Let me check. 1 2 1 2. Hello.
Still sultry as ever.
Yummy.
That's great. Coffee is flowing. We're back for another episode here. We had I think our longest conversation last time.
Yeah.
It was 50. I don't even know. It was a long one. It was fun to edit. Lots of great conversation. But my week got away from me because there's just a ton going on. We're planning a trip to Phoenix.
Oh, that's right. Is that next or 2 weeks?
22nd is when we fly
Oh, that's
out.
next week.
Yeah. So we're going to go see the Cubbies for spring training because guess what season it is, Jim?
It's baseball season.
It's baseball season.
It's my favorite time of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite time. Not only that, it's springtime. Unfortunately, today after the rain, it's like 45 degrees outside.
Yeah.
But yesterday it was, I think, 71, 72. But
Felt amazing yesterday. I actually got to sit out on my patio, enjoy a nice little breeze.
yeah, last week I saw the robins out. Like that's how you
Yeah.
know, man. Like it's like it's here.
Starting to feel like the real world again. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I can't get enough of baseball. I'm excited for it to start. And last year was coincidentally. You okay?
Sorry. Yeah.
You good?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
My nose was running.
You're running a little late today. Huh?
Oh man.
Yeah?
I was in it, man. I was in it.
No, so the every year I've always wanted to go and see them at spring training, but I hadn't. At 40-some years old, as much baseball runs in my blood and how much of a Cubby fan I had never been until last year. It was my first
Yeah,
time.
Sloan Park is a really cool place.
I feel like I'm going to go every year now.
They sell out that place every game too.
Yeah.
Just like Wrigley. It's a really I really enjoyed it. We stayed. Did you guys last year? Did you sit up in left field up in the bar area or whatever?
The Budweiser party deck, I think.
Yeah.
is what they call
Because they
it.
have like
Yeah.
the seating in the bar area
Yeah.
or the table goes across there.
Yeah, that's where it's at, man.
Yeah, I enjoyed that place.
It's just really good views. I like going towards the end of their training. That way I get to see some of the big boys play.
Well, yeah, man, they just sent down a bunch. I was really surprised by Pete Crow Armstrong getting sent back.
Oh, I'm
Down.
not. I told you
Well, with
last
Belly
year. I
coming
said
up.
he's going to come up probably about a third way into the season. He's going to come up and he's going to stay.
Well, he better show somebody.
Put me
that
on
he-
record. I believe he will be.
He
up
better
by
show somebody
about a
that he
third
can
into
hit the baseball because he hasn't done shit in spring training. So that's going to be a hurdle he has to jump.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah,
But
I
as
do
of right
like
now, I remain with my projection that about a third way into the season, he will be called up.
I think first base is nailed down with that Michael Bush kid that they got picked up from the Dodgers.
So we don't think Belly is going to
No,
spell
man.
first base for us a little bit here.
I think he'll get some time there, but I think it's Michael Bush is that kid's name. he's been really fun to watch in spring training. Mervis hasn't been getting near as many opportunities there. So I think, and then they've been having Morrell at third, which I like.
Yeah.
He made an error. We were watching the game the other night. They were playing the Brewers. He did good. His lateral movement's really good and all that stuff. But I think just knowledge of who's at shortstop is important.
You got to be able to trust everybody. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they can all trust each other.
They do, but you know what? I mean, he made some plays that, well, let's just say he knocked the ball down, or he gets the ball, he comes up, makes a bad throw because he didn't trust that the shortstop was back there or whatever that was. They talked about it during the game, and it was very evident. Like,
Yeah, well, in Morrell's case, his primary job is
hit home runs.
to hit the ball.
Dude, I love that
And
dude's swing.
Having him at third is just going to give him just more opportunities to do that. He wasn't leveraged as much.
Yeah,
and
give him 400 or 500 at bats. I think are going to be important, and let him take some daddy hacks, man.
I got this freaking cord is stuck in my. I gotta. Oh yeah.
I can't help you.
That's good. But no, if Morrell is, if he's on the game day roster, I think we're a better team.
Yeah, I
And
do too.
I honestly, I think he can play pretty much any position you want him to.
Yeah,
As an adequate.
they had interesting. They had Saya in left. Is Hap hurt?
I don't know.
I haven't seen him barely at all this spring. But they had Saya over in left, Talkman in right, and Belly in center.
Talkman is.
He's doing good.
Well, yeah, but they're saying that he might be
Trade bait.
one of our higher trade values.
Yeah, no, he definitely is.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a superstar for them or anything, but he's been pretty consistent, man. He's a local Chicago day from Palestine.
Yeah. All right.
Or
You know,
Barrington area.
I had a conversation the other day about like the team you root for and the players on that team, and whether or not it's okay to have a rival team with a rival player then get traded or signed with your team. Can you now root for them?
Well, yeah, man. If they have the right colors on, of course.
Right? And that's what I'm saying. It's about the team. It's about the colors. It's about the city.
Now, the whole
I
Craig
don't
Counsell
care what
thing,
player you are.
I'm still absorbing that as the manager.
Oh yeah.
Because I still feel like, did he come over to sabotage us? Like he was our enemy for all those years, and then all of a sudden now he's a Cubby forever. Like,
Okay.
I don't
Well,
know.
I mean, we wrote the check, so
Right. I mean,
money talks.
I think he's going to do well. I think the Cubs. I'm still not happy with their signings. I really wish that they would. I saw Dylan Cease got traded to the Padres, the Chicago White Sox dude. That was somebody we could have used.
Yeah, well, we're not in control of it.
No.
We don't know the back end of it. All I know is that whoever is on that field on opening day is going to get all of my support, no matter what.
Yeah, the
Because
Cubs need to
it's
win.
Cubby blue.
They need to win 90 games. Like 90 to 93 games gets them in the playoffs.
If we're hoping to win, which everybody wants the Cubbies to win, cool. But I don't think ownership cares as much about that as the fans do.
Well, I don't know. You know what? That'd be an interesting conversation to have. Like, pick
Put
their
a good
brain.
product on the field. Support your fans.
Yeah.
Tease them a little bit with what they want, but for the most part, they're going to make money. They're going to entertain their fans. They're going to support their city, and they're going to pay their bills,
Yeah.
whether or not they make the playoffs.
Interesting segue to that. With baseball season starting up, high school baseball season started this week.
Which is always way too soon for the Midwest.
It is, but
On the record,
they used to
high schools in this area should not be starting baseball in this weather.
Well, they used to. I don't think it was very long ago. Like up in Wisconsin, they did summer baseball for high school.
Which I would support. Now that offers other issues trying to carry on school activities outside of school time. But I just think that in general, the Midwest doesn't have the weather to support a March start for baseball season. It's
They're gonna
just
cancel
too
so many
cold.
games.
Games end up, yeah, exactly. They get canceled more often than not.
Yeah, like I mean, last year freshman season for my son, spring break, you can't take spring break because they have double headers scheduled every single day.
Yeah.
And 75% of them got canceled.
Yeah.
Because it was either too cold, raining, snow. Like it's pretty stupid. But it's something hit me. So like Aiden goes to Boylan. The Boylan head coach is Matt Weber. I really like Matt. I think he also is the enrollment director over there at Boylan.
Shout out Matt Weber.
Yeah, I really like Matt, and I think he's really good with kids. I've seen him his interactions, and I asked Aiden. I said, when you have your opportunities to talk to coach, I said, he played professional baseball. He played for the Cubs actually. He's a pitcher.
I think he went up to triple, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so for a little bit. I know he did some AA ball for sure. I think he did get some AAA time, but I've always try to tell Aiden as a pitcher, I was like, anytime you get a chance to talk to a guy like that, especially when you're by yourself or even in the group, but like, hey man, like why wouldn't you ever talk to him and be like, hey coach, can you tell me a sequence, how you would pitch a game, like from start to finish, and what you're thinking from, what kind of research you did, and what you're thinking on pitch one compared to, let's say you go a complete game and it's pitch 105.
Yeah.
Like, and I think there's a lot missing.
Getting perspectives on the preparation is critical.
Yeah.
Come game time, you are a different pitcher.
You have to be.
The other team is
the
going to
elements-
have different hitters and things. Those are different, but the preparation and especially, in my opinion, the mindset that it takes to get to that level and sustain at that level, that's what kids need to be learning these days. I think they need to be learning how to be good sportsmen, studiers of the game, like just true appreciation for the mental aspect of the game and the preparation behind it, and less about learning how to throw a fucking curveball when they're 11 years old.
But even still, like, and I don't disagree with you. I very much agree with you on like a student of the game, and when they get to high school, I'm not a big fan of the pitcher only, and they should play baseball. The transition has started earlier now, and they do the pitcher only things and stuff like that. But I think that understanding what that transition is going to look like for high schoolers is way too overwhelming when they do it, because a kid just thinks, well, I must suck if I can only pitch. And they don't understand that these guys, they get to the college or pro level, they pitch once every 5 days. They're 5 or 6 days, but their preparation, they got half bullpens, full bullpens, their workouts, and studying the, okay, if you're scheduled to pitch next Tuesday and it's against whomever, that
They're
they then
putting in the work.
They're studying the players, the most likely lineup and tendencies and where these guys miss. I mean, with all the data and metrics that they have, especially in college and professional baseball, these guys know exactly where to throw every single ball when they're on the mound. And I just think
it's
that
a
that is
matter of
amazing.
execution, but you can't execute something that you don't understand.
Yeah, or you don't know, or if you're
Right.
if you're not doing
And
that.
I think it's also critical that young people, like your boys' situation, it's critical that they take advantage of opportunities when they meet and have exposure and training from those people that have been through it.
Yeah.
Because they're so bombarded with bullshit information from people that don't know what they're talking about, that only trust an article they read or saw a YouTube video somewhere, but they've never been through it. They don't understand what that process is like. So when you're around somebody like a Matt Weber who's been through the youth, the high school, the college, the pro level ball, you have to leverage them and just absorb as much as you possibly can, because they're the ones that have the skin.
Yeah, and the only reason I bring this stuff up, so there was an article the Register Star posted at the beginning of the week about a young man that was going to Harlem. Family moved to Utah, I think, Utah or Idaho. The last name Vaborning. So he's a stud. This kid is a super athlete. And it wasn't. I don't want to say it was the fault of a coach or anything like that. But he goes up there, and all of a sudden now he's a 4-5-star recruit, getting ready to go to a Big 12 school.
Okay.
And it sparked a conversation locally about college coaches and like the recruiting process for basically all sports in this area. Rockford has a ton of talent, and it was just an interesting conversation and back and forth with some people about what they see in different perspectives.
Yeah.
And talking about the work and being a student of whatever game it is you're playing. It could be hockey, lacrosse, softball, baseball, football, whatever. And I just thought that it's been an interesting week of perspectives on some of that stuff.
I tell you what, man, my son has been out of organized sports for a few years now. And I remember back when he was first getting in to that high school level, moving from the youth league into high school. And I always thought that was such a big deal. And then you get in and it's a little bit disappointing, freshman baseball in this area.
Yeah, I do not disagree. I think overall the experience from a parent standpoint, but you know, when you have and I'll use state line baseball and travel ball experiences, when you have good quality experiences, and then you get reverted back to something, and you're like, well, why don't we do this, or why don't they do that? And you know, there's no communication, and it's not that. And I understand you're trying to give kids responsibility and things like that, but you know, making them figure out their rides and when they can get their equipment. You know, there's not a locker that they can all store their stuff in. So it takes the parents being in that communication realm, and I think it is pretty shitty, the communication in this area, because everybody has the same experience. I haven't found one where somebody was like, "Wow, you know." I think there are some coaches that are a lot more approachable to the idea and be like, "Hey, man, like nobody's critiquing you. We just want to help make that process smoother." And they get offended very quickly, and that's what I've seen in this area, and I've seen it from all sports in this area for that matter.
I remember when Zach did move into high school baseball, I remember thinking, I'm out of it. Like, you have to communicate with them. And I never felt myself disappointed by the communication. Maybe that was because their coaches at that time did an okay job. Maybe it was because I said, Zach, this is on you now. It's off my shoulders. You need to grow up and take some responsibility for it. And he did a pretty good job of that. Or I don't know, maybe they sucked at it. I just never paid attention. I don't know. I find myself disappointed simply because the expectations of like the level of play is gonna increase so much. The amount you're gonna play is going to increase. The quality of the field you're gonna play on is going to increase. Yep. And these are expectations that I had based on what was presented to me in general from the community. And I've learned very quickly that you need to listen to people who have been through it.
Yeah, it's very helpful.
What actually happens in the process. But what I did learn throughout all of that is that, and Zach, I believe, learned this as well, and I hope that kids that are getting to the next level, whether that next level is just moving up into the next age group of their youth program, or if that's moving into a JV program or a varsity program, if you're trying to go into a community baseball league at the college level, or if you're trying to play D1, whatever level you're trying to step into, I want kids to understand, like, you always have to know that you enjoy playing the game, because it's not going to matter if you like the coach or if you win a ton of games. If you're playing the exact position that you wanted to, it's not going to matter if the coach communicates with your parents the right way or not. It's not going to matter if you like the color of your jersey or if you like how far you're traveling to play games. As long as you're playing the game that you love, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Then you're going to have a good experience. Just eliminate all the other bullshit expectations.
And I don't doubt that. But there's not maybe 1% of kids do that.
Love the game?
No, they love it, but they don't realize that that's why they should be playing. Like,
And that's what if nothing else, the work that I do with the youth league, that's what I'm trying to instill with kids at a young age, and the parents as well, because the parents have such a huge influence anyways, is that you need to have everything on the foundation of just the pure joy of the game, and then all the other BS that's going to consistently change will not matter because you just love the game.
yeah, you show up, you play, you have fun.
Right.
In most places, I think the foundation of sports is always about that. That's
Well,
what
it should
those.
be.
It's rooted in that.
It should be. I don't think it is.
It
but
very
should be.
quickly doesn't become that. And again, we're all guilty of it. Most of the time, 90%, 95, 98% of the time, adults are the problem.
Yeah. Well, and that's why it's important that if nothing else, if you can't find a coach or a program that has leaders that have all these accolades and professional playing or training experience, at least find good people.
Yeah.
Right.
Be around good people. Have your kids around good kids and like-minded. It will make your experience as a parent and as for your child so much better.
Amen to that, bro. Amen to that. I learned that very, very quickly with my son. Speaking of, actually, I was on the website trying to update some stuff for this season coming up, and I was reading through an old blog post that I wrote about the 7 most important things I learned while involved in the program over the years that I was in it for 7. So I'm coming up on like 14 years now, and when I wrote that post, I was in the mindset of I'm about to phase out of this because my son is getting into high school ball. And now I'm reading it 7 years later, and I'm like, I have learned even more now that my son is out of it, because I've been able to have that bird's eye view, that over the top view that isn't impacted with the emotional investment that I had while my son was playing for a team. So I'm actually considering whether or not I want to lay out some other things that I've learned in that time as well, because I'm a different man. I see things considerably different now than I did, 10
Well, when your
years
kid's
ago.
involved, you certainly have an emotional attachment
100%.
to all decisions and things, because you're not only trying to make it better, you want to make it better for your own kid.
Right.
So now it's a little bit different. You take out all the bullshit because your kid's not involved. So now it's all about just providing a good quality experience for the community.
For everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I hope everybody understands, that it's a different world running one team
Oh yeah.
than it is running 50.
There's a lot of
60
moving
teams.
parts in the fact that, and again, it's not just in one community; it's in all these communities. People's volunteerism suck. It just
There are some
sucks.
good ones.
I didn't say that there wasn't,
But in general, yeah, it does kind of suck
Like-
when you send out a message. You're like, hey, we need 20 people at this time, and 2 show up.
when you have 650 kids, let's just say, make it easy, 10 kids on a team. You need 65 head coaches, right?
We have
and then it's always nice to have an assistant, because it's tough on one person to just run a team and practices and at least provide a quality experience. So on average, you need 120 to 150 volunteers to assist in that process.
at minimum.
Yeah.
I think the lowest number I ever saw for total volunteers was in like the 140s for us on a yearly basis.
The lowest?
I think, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
When
But
you include all of the concession volunteers, the people helping at the
that's
board and
another thing.
operational level, the head coaches and the assistant coaches.
you and your
I think it's
family
like-
did the
it's 140
concessions
plus.
for years. And
Yeah.
you've offered discounts to people and all those things. And I just think overall, they would make the experience much better if they got involved.
Well, some people would rather just say, here's some money.
Yeah.
And honestly, the league needs the money because when you don't get the volunteers, you got to pay people, and money helps. So if I can have a shameless plug, I do want to shout out to, I'm going to point right here at this one, right in the center here. Shout out to Apex General Contracting, the league sponsor for several years running now, making it a little bit easier to say yes to as many kids as possible to play in this league. So thank you, Apex. We appreciate you guys.
They do a great job.
Yeah,
they're very, very much involved in the local community area.
Yeah.
It's really, really nice to see that.
Yeah. We really appreciate their support. Makes it easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
State line baseball, baby.
It's coming up, man. That's what baseball season is about. Here I'm trying to get away to Phoenix to watch a game, and we're setting up the league, and we're going to go to opening day in Chicago, and then like a week later we're meeting with all the coaches to finalize the rosters, and me and my team are working behind the scenes every day, answering questions, running all the things. There's a ton of different contracts you have to worry about, checks you have to write. Insurance, we just changed our insurance policy, a whole bunch of process of that. There's nonstop stuff to worry about on this thing. But at the end of the day, because it's really like another full-time job for me. I don't get paid for any of it, but I love it because it's a passion of mine, youth sports and baseball. But every single year, when I get closer to the start of the season, I always question, is it worth it? Because there's so much shit that you have to deal with. And there's some people that are very hard to deal with. And there's some things that are they're just very difficult. And it's a burden. Sometimes you look back, you're like, man, I love this. I love what it does. But like, is it worth it? And then I go.
It always is. And I go
to one game. And I see the kids with a smile on their face walking on that field.
Get cool uniforms.
Yeah, and oh my gosh, opening day that we do up in Beloit Skycarp Stadium there.
That's coming up too, isn't it? Is it like April 1st or something?
It's going to be May 13th.
May 13th.
May 13th is
now. Will the older age, will they already be started by then? And
no, so May 13th is a Monday. And the first games for our entire program will be the very next day.
Nice.
Yeah. 6U gets delayed a little bit. We give them some extra time to get registered because that's the new kids. They don't know.
Yeah,
the new parents, the new families, they don't know when to register. So we give them a little bit extra time. And then, so we get out there and we see the kids. And that's what gets me hyped. And it's like, this is why we do it.
Yeah.
And that's my payment.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever stop.
You won't. I've tried. There's nothing wrong with that.
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So cheers to baseball, my man.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I did see too. I've been seeing a bunch of stuff. I think there's a newer lacrosse program in Rockford as well. I think the Razorbacks.
Okay.
They've been advertising a lot more. So
I know nothing about lacrosse,
dude. Me neither, but I've seen it more like. And then rugby. There's a rugby program. It's been around for 50 years in Rockford.
The Rockford Ravens. Rugby.
The Ravens. Yeah, they are really picking up on their youth programming, which is really fun to see.
Okay.
They do a great job over there. Max, our general manager at D1,
he's a big rugby player.
Yeah.
Played for like the
Team USA.
I was going to say, USA team.
He played for the SaberCats as a professional down in Houston or Dallas.
Okay.
But he did for his age group. They have like two different teams for Team USA. One's the Eagles and one whatever it is. So he played for those teams, and then as soon as the Ravens saw that he was moving here to be our general manager, they actually contacted him on the backside.
He's a big dude.
Yeah, he's
Max.
6'6".
Yeah, I was gonna say so I remember when I first met him, I rolled through the D1 to say hi, and he was there. You didn't tell me how tall he was, and I'm 6'2", 6'3" if I'm wearing the right shoes, and it's not very often I run into people that are taller than me. Even as tall, so when I have to look up at a dude, it's like, whoa.
Yeah, he's a big kid, man.
Yeah, big dude, kid. Cool guy.
He's done a lot of cool. I mean, he's young. I don't even think he's not even 23 years old yet. But he did that. Plus, he finished his bachelor's degree at University of Houston.
Yeah.
Was a trainer at strength and conditioning coach at Rice University with their football program. Really good friends with Luke McCaffrey, actually.
Okay.
And then he also worked with So he was out in Colorado. He started working with the D1 franchise system out in Littleton, Colorado. He was at that time he was working with the Avalanche the year that they won the Stanley Cup.
Okay.
So he didn't get a ring because he left, because he joined the Team USA roster. But we were fortunate to have him. He's a really good kid. He's finished his MBA in August.
I'll tell you, if I plan on going out drinking, like doing a big binger anytime at some dive bars, that's the kind of dude I want by my side.
Yeah,
Because I
it's
know
always nice.
I can start all kinds of trouble when you got some dude that just looks that intimidating.
He's intimidating, but his demeanor, it's like
Isn't that how it is
he's a
sometimes,
nice
though?
kid.
Like
He's
the
a nice
biggest
guy, man.
people are the nicest ones.
yeah,
I've seen that.
yeah, very passionate about what he's doing in life and what his goals and what he wants to do, which is nice to see.
Yeah, for sure. He lives in my building, actually. Yeah.
Dude, I steered him towards Beloit. I thought that was the best thing for him. When he moved up here from Houston, we gave him a list of places, and he had mentioned it at the same time, and I was like, well, I have a really good friend that's going to be in that building, and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous facility. Actually, speaking of what's happened in Beloit, they just announced that they've got a new thing opening up down there at the Spine, over at the Ironworks
Oh
facility.
yeah. Where that's where the golf lab's at, right?
Right down from the golf lab. If you've been to the Deviate art scene thing that they've done a couple years now, it's in that area.
Do I look like I go to art places?
You should.
I don't. I'm not very cultured in that. I need to get better. Laura likes to do some of that stuff, but not as much as you'd think. So she doesn't push the issue.
It's a cool little thing, but they're taking over that space down there. And
nice.
Geronimo, they've been developing it for some time. I've heard rumblings about it.
Well, don't they own all of that?
Yeah, I mean, Hendrix owns a lot of that stuff down there, and they're utilizing it. And in this particular case, it looks like it's going to be pretty cool because they're going to have food and drinks and family entertainment stuff.
Is there
outside,
a restaurant
inside.
there now?
Not in the Spine.
No.
No.
Because I always thought, like, right after you cross the bridge, like, I know the golf lab is up there to the right, but I thought that, like, the first place, it looked like a restaurant or something.
Well, they've got the Blue Collar Coffee
Oh, is that
across
where
from the
they're at?
YMCA, and then there's Grand Avenue Pub is over there. But there's also La Casa Grande is in that general area.
I just think that place is super cool. It's high end. Like they've done a very, very nice job. I don't think I don't think the utilization rate is as high as they want to see it yet. But the more people that are moving into that area, they should be using that more.
I just like how a bunch of stuff is popping up within walking distance of where I live.
And you got the ballpark there.
Yeah,
You got a lot of places to eat,
exactly.
have some beer, libations.
Exactly. Yep. A guy hit me up the other day. Said, "Are you still in downtown Beloit? Because I'm thinking about moving my business there, and I just want to pick your ear about what's going on." I was like, "Yeah, I'm working from the loft right now. When do you want to meet?" He's like, "I'm driving up right now." So I just throw some shoes on, walk down to a bar, sit down, have a drink, walk on back to my place, get some more work done.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's very convenient.
Well, I think since COVID too, like Laura, I think that's the best thing. She didn't even realize it was the best thing for her career, like working from home more. She does court through Zoom and all that stuff. And you have to be very on point to be successful working from home and it's
disciplined. You have to be disciplined.
Very disciplined. Yeah. And for her, like she is, and like her calendar's really tight, but she sticks to it. And I think she's very, very productive from working from home.
I go through stints of that. I can see Laura being that way, just because she's a good worker. She understands what she has to get done. She's very successful in her career. Me, I go through stints up and down roller coaster of like, do I need to be in my office? Do I need to be at home? Do I need to be comfortable? Do I need to be wearing a suit? And I literally will just wake up that day and I'll decide then. Yeah. Unless I've got a meeting scheduled at the office or very specific things that need to happen where it's more convenient to be in one space. I find it I'm lucky, I'm blessed that I have the office to work out of and I have a designated space in the loft to work out of as well. But I let the day decide, bro.
Yeah. I mean, Laura's schedule decides it, but I would say that her learning curve was realizing or not realizing how much she needed when she needed to be in the office for not necessarily a client issue or clients. That's the easy part.
Yeah.
It's the management of the law practice.
Yep.
And just kind of, you know, there's partner meetings and there's certain things that come up throughout random days that it would just, so she's kind of, you know, manipulated that a little bit and changed that up a little bit, but it's made it more of a schedule for her, and that's how she is. Like she's like you guys plan shit 6 months out in advance, and you know, her calendar, man, she lives and dies by that thing. Like she
me
pulls
too.
it up,
It's
and
the same way.
and I'm like, she's like, put it on your calendar. It's like,
He's like, what?
I got a calendar.
It's like, you manage my calendar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's funny.
like that's my go-to when somebody asks me a question. It was on a movie. I'm like, or something. I'm like, or no, it was a comedian. I'm like, I'm the husband, man. What do you expect? I don't know this stuff. It was just for everything. It's like, don't ask me if I know when we're going on vacation. I'm told when.
I told my kids when they were growing up, like, you guys need to get into calendar systems now. You got a
Super
game
important.
you got to go to. You're going to hang out with somebody. You got schoolwork you got to do. I highly recommend putting literally everything in your calendar so you don't get distracted, because it's so easy for this thing to pull you away from everything you're supposed to be doing.
It's a tool if you use it correctly.
It absolutely. I use it all the time, and having shared calendars is critical. But yeah, I can definitely see Laura leveraging that, because we do a lot of stuff. And honestly, speaking of calendars, I think I've realized something about myself, and I'm not sure if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I think I constantly have to have something big, something cool, something exciting on my calendar to like look forward to
look at.
Yeah.
You got the FOMO, man.
I definitely have FOMO. Like I'm like a yes guy. Like, if you want to do something, if I'm available, I'm probably gonna say yes, to my own detriment.
So I use Laura and you as my calendar.
Yeah.
So you guys remind, even like today, like everything that I do, I'm just kind of like, well, if I have something going on, you're gonna remind me. So
maybe
you always
sometimes I'll call you late.
Yeah, but even
Where
still,
you at?
Nonetheless, you two always keep me on track.
We try. We certainly try. But I do. I feel like I have to have something planned out on my calendar to look forward to. Otherwise, I feel like I'm stagnant. I'm not doing anything.
Dude,
There's
I don't
nothing
need
going
anything
on.
planned. I can sit my ass on a couch and watch TV.
Not that I have to be doing something at all times. I love chilling. I love hanging out and just relaxing. But I like
schedule your chill
I like
time.
having kind of.
It's kind of like that.
You're not wrong. But I do like having something on the calendar to look forward to. Like, literally for the next 4 or 5 months, I think there's something every single month that's on my calendar for travel or experiences coming up, and I love it.
Man, listen, I'm done with calendars. I want to do another plug for somebody. We've
Better be good if you're going to take me off of calendar management.
This is awesome. So so we just had our floors redone, right?
Yeah.
You've been over there since the floors been?
Absolutely.
Well, we decided to just paint everything downstairs, the ceilings and everything. Holy shit. Completely different vibe in our house.
Yeah.
It brightened everything up. Jim Markel Construction, an amazing dude. So he did our build out at D1. He did the bar outside, the wine cellar. Like he does everything. He's just an amazing guy, man. We put new fixtures in the bathroom downstairs.
I feel like you guys are always doing something.
I think that you always have to keep your house upgraded, man. Like, if you let it sit for too long, you're going to have, when problems do arise, they're going to be really bad problems.
Well, you guys have a beautiful home, and you enjoy using it. I enjoy using it.
We use that shit a lot, don't we?
You guys do good keeping it up. But yeah, I've seen all the stuff Markel has done, and you're right. He's pretty fantastic.
I was talking to him yesterday, and we were laughing at when Jim did it, because his name's Jim.
Yeah.
And I said, they're not talking about me. I said, I'm the other Jim. So when they say the other Jim fucked it up, it's it's me they're talking about. So I'm just like, Jim, I said, we call you for everything. It's just, it's peace of mind.
Yeah, I remember when you guys got that new art TV thing.
Oh, yeah.
It looks fantastic, by the way.
The deco.
When you guys got it in, pulled it in, it was huge. And I looked at the thing. I was like, so you're probably going to have to rehang everything, remount everything. And I looked at you. I was like, we going to do that? We going to do that tonight? And you're like, fuck no.
Nope.
I don't do that
because
shit.
if anything goes wrong, it's just too easy for Laura to blame me. And I'm not going to let that happen. I will pay a professional because I know it's going to be insured. If somebody's going to be on the hook.
Look, man, I get it. But I'm a DIY person. I love the fact that I know how to do it myself. I'm capable of doing it, and that I want to do it.
It's not about capability, man. It has nothing to do with capability.
I just find it humorous because when me and you were out, if you were to look at you and me and somebody had to guess which one of the two is framing up their own basement, they'd guess you every time.
That's
they'd
a funny
be wrong.
story. I was doing that when we moved in and Laura wanted to finish the basement. I said, that's fine. I'll start with the bathroom because I was a plumber.
Yeah.
So that's my expertise. So I started cutting on some 2x4s and stuff to move some stuff. And she came down and questioned me. And I was just like, in pure husband fashion, I was like, what do you mean? Like, I know what the fuck I'm doing. Well, that just started it all. I said, you know what? That within a week, we had a contractor in there. And because I was just like, as Jim is the contractor at Jim's own house, I can't deal with the customer.
You don't want the backseat builder?
I'm not. Laura's the customer, and it just doesn't work. So
she is very specific about what
she
wants.
And I love her for that. It just made sense. And after that point, I just come to the realization that there's a convenience factor. Your time is worth. The older I've gotten, my thing is I feel that my time is worth more today than what it was 15 years ago or whatever. I would rather pay whatever it is within reason. Obviously always looking for not the cheapest, but something reasonable. I know people need to make money. But yeah, it was, I'm not, that's just like hanging the TV. We had the Geek Squad come in, man. It's like, they're going to take care of it. Yeah. And if there's a problem, I can look at Laura and say, call the Geek Squad. If our TV falls and breaks,
it's their fault.
It's their fault.
If I had the time in my own home, I would have done it myself. If I was too busy and I wanted it up before then, I probably would have paid somebody. But I really do. I default straight up. I just want to do it myself, man. I love the feeling, the pride of knowing
the accomplishment
I
is
did
nice.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love it. I did that. Did you see the the Joe Biden stickers that people put on the gas pumps?
Okay.
Oh my God.
What?
They're hilarious.
I haven't seen this. I don't follow politics as much as people might think.
No, this isn't a politics thing. So I've seen them around all over the place in Winnebago County.
Okay.
There's a bandit out there that puts these Joe Biden looking dumb, and he's like pointing up, and they stick it to the gas pumps, and because of the gas prices going up.
I did that.
It's funny.
Did he say that somewhere in a funny speech?
He did on something.
Okay.
So
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah. But it wasn't about. He didn't say it about gas or anything. It was something else.
No, which he wouldn't ever, because the simple fact is that the president doesn't control gas prices. He
but his
never has
policies
and never
do.
will. But
the
president gets blamed for everything, good or bad.
It does. It was
bad.
still funny. Yeah, it's easy to blame him for the bad stuff.
It's both sides do it to each other. It's bullshit.
Politics.
That's why I stay away from it.
Well, I was just reading an article the other day. Politics are crazy, man. There's people just quitting in Congress
because they don't feel it's worth it anymore.
No, and there was just one this week that said, "Look, man, I came here to do things, and it is very apparent now that I'm here." And this is somebody that's been around for 8-9 years. And he said, it's apparent they don't want you to do things. They just want to keep it this way.
Yeah.
And that says a lot, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I've always said the good ones never run.
Well,
Because they don't want the hassle.
In general, I kind of agree that were a lot of really great, capable individuals that could plant some seeds of change, positive change, are probably not even interested in politics because of the stress of it.
Well,
but
I don't. They're probably they're making so much money, and
that's fine.
Their quality of life is different.
You do you, but I do not think that takes away from some of the really good people that are in the system. I mean, we're really good friends with one that is a great person.
Yeah, Joe.
Joe, fantastic individual, represents his community.
For you, buddy.
Love you, Joe. Reps his community the right way. I think Severson's a great person. I don't think we really have any local politicians that are all that bad of people.
No, I don't think they're bad
and
people.
I don't think in general that anything that people could say negatively about politics takes away from how good they are.
Yeah,
there
I
are
agree.
good people involved. It's just the system is just so much bigger than they are as individuals.
Yeah, the bureaucracy of it and the units of government. I mean, state of Illinois, although there's not necessarily a bunch of bad people, they've made bad decisions collectively, that a lot of them, and the units of government and having overstepping that is a huge problem. And so it's funny that we're talking about this. One of my pet peeves, and I look at where I live in Roscoe. There's 5 school districts. 5.
This is an Illinois problem, Jim.
I know it's an Illinois problem, but I live in a town that has 5 school districts, and we're taxed based on all of those. There's 5 different superintendents. There's principals, assistant principals, staff, everything. It's insane to get to one high school. It's not like Rockford Public Schools to where, and I'm not giving them a shout out either, but nonetheless, at least there's a public school system for Rockford. There's 25,000 students, whatever that is.
Rockford is huge.
But
and they do the best that they possibly can. And again, not to take anything away from the individuals that are trying to do good work there, but I mean, Illinois got some problems with just their organizational structure across the board. School districts is not the only issue.
No,
you've got the municipal layout,
townships,
the fact that we're a
cities,
township
villages.
state, dude. It's like, why are we a township state? So this is a very old school system of running land.
Yeah,
It's like,
and
why? This is a
the
waste
end,
of money.
I think I really correlate it to kind of like the labor movement, right? There was a time where companies took advantage of and threatened and instilled fear in their employees of retribution and retaliation and losing their jobs and their livelihoods. Well, they changed all that. Department of Labor was created and all those things. So, and I look at it kind of the same way is, the townships, villages, cities is really in that same boat. It's like, well, at one time, I'm sure that it was the right thing to do, but they never take it back. And,
It's because too many people are making too much money.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly it.
In and out of politics.
Yeah, and they don't want to vote themselves
because of
out of a
system.
job.
Right.
And I get that too,
Right.
but people got to make tough decisions.
Okay, so I don't want to name names, but there are plenty of individuals that I've spoken with that have been in politics at a very, very low level because of the way that Illinois is structured, and they currently are making more money based on their government pension than they ever made while they were in office.
Yeah, happens all the time.
And that alone should make people want to research what government agencies are operating what and why and at what expense.
Yeah, no.
Do the research so you can form a real opinion about all of your local issues, because that's the stuff that impacts.
Well, and voting that's how
you live your
important
life.
voting is, man.
Yeah.
I remember, what was it? Kinnicknick School District did a referendum, and the reason they did a referendum on record was, well, we haven't had one in a long time. Do you know that got voted in by 4 votes, and it's just like, but. And it all came about. I remember when Hano was doing when the dome fell down, and they were looking at pricing and all that stuff. They went through all that process in the early 2000s, and then they didn't do the upkeep of the maintenance correctly, and that place fell over. But they wanted I can't even remember. I know it was I think they settled on like $44 million for all the stuff and all the upgrades.
They did. They packaged a lot of stuff into the first
Which
referendum.
which was great. Don't get me wrong.
All of it would have been used properly. It's not like they were trying
It
to
is.
hide anything in there.
No.
But it got shot down. They
Yeah.
lost the first one, and then they came to me and my agency and said, "What did we do wrong?" And
They need to
and I
market it.
said, "Well, the community doesn't know what all this money is going to. Realistically, it's going to good things, and it's a good investment. But they did not know that. They didn't feel that. The perception was that the dome is only going to cost this, but you're asking us for this, and that raised too many questions, so people
Yeah.
shot it down. So then they came back and they just asked for the money
Well,
to
what
recreate
sparked-
the field house, and
what
now
got
we have
me
that
going-
beautiful facility.
What got me going is at that point, that's whenever I looked into the school districts, and then you look at each school district reserve,
Yeah.
and they were sitting reserve-wise between, Hano, Stephen Mack, Kinnickinnick, and then the other one out towards Durand. What's the small one out there in Ledgewood? And then there's, I can't remember. But either way, they were sitting on like $50 or $60 million in their cash reserve.
Which, I mean, I'd rather have that than be in debt.
True. I think a lot of it is they're bound by the state and by state statute to have so much in reserve or whatever. But nonetheless, you're sitting on $60 million of taxpayer funds, and now you're asking for $40 million. It's like, bro, write that check.
Well, again,
they wouldn't fix
realistically,
like your daughter did the performing arts stuff. Do you remember when they had the collapse of the roof and everything? They waited to get the money from the referendum instead of just writing the check to get it fixed. I mean,
here's the thing.
It's
the
gross.
reality of it is probably much more, let's just say, complicated.
Yeah, I think the school board's
than
problem
some
up there
people want to frame it.
from the high school.
There's a lot of details in there that you have to worry about, but the perception is what's going to impact how people talk about it and how people vote about it. But I will tell you this, I never like talking about politics, so I'm surprised you even got me into this conversation at all.
I knew how to wrap you into it, dude.
I was fine talking about your house being cool and a party place and like, are we going to get drinks after this? Like, I was fine talking about that. You got me talking about fucking school referendums and
It's gross,
state politics.
right?
Man.
And then if they're like, "Oh, it's only $100 per $100,000." Next thing you know, it's like, wait a second. And then the assessments come by, and now it's like, wow, it assessed higher. So, because it never assesses lower. You have to argue that shit.
Well, I tell you what, man, if you don't like your local politics, sell your house, move somewhere else.
That's what I'm saying.
You
And
know.
vote early and often.
And if you want to stay where you're at, effing get your ass out there and vote for sure. We're coming up on that season here real soon. We're going to see all kinds of people saying, go out and vote. And then everybody's hoorah, hoorah,
and then they don't show up.
And then nobody fucking votes.
Happens all the time, man. It's
disappointing.
yeah.
It's disappointing.
I've never missed a vote in my entire life.
Yeah. Well, I don't live in Illinois anymore. I live in Wisconsin.
It matters. Your
'Cause-
vote matters.
Well, I like my money. So
Yeah. True. I can see that.
true that. Speaking of, why don't we wrap this thing up and I will buy the first round.
All right.
Deal?
Deal.
Deal. All right. Well, Kiko, I don't know what you got going on, but you're invited. We think you're cool. You've officially made it into the cool club. Come out and get a drink with us, my man. Anything to say to the crowd before we head out of here?
O'Doyle rules.
O'Doyle rules.
O'Doyle rules.
See you guys next time.
See ya.
Peace.